to the Own Your Ship podcast here on YouTube. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Own Your Ship podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now, this week, this episode is going to be not as long as the others, but I promised you guys an episode every week, and I'm here to fulfill that. So, for some of you who don't know, my husband and I are expecting our third child any day now. So, I'm in that nesting phase where I'm just trying to get everything ready, but I promised you guys an episode every week, and I'm here to deliver. No pun intended. All right. So today we're going to be talking about a shut up ring. You know, you don't normally hear people talk about shut up rings or whatever, but today I wanted to talk about this because it's something that's real, y'all. It's totally real. And you might be wondering, okay, Melissa, what is a shut up ring? And how do I know if I have a shut up ring? Well, let's just put it out there. A shut up ring is one of those things where your partner gives you a ring with no intention to follow through to the next chapter of your lives. So, how do you know if you have a shut up ring? I got 4 pointers that I want to share, and I'm going to do my best to go in depth or as in depth as possible. So, the first pointer, he was tired of you nagging him. Now, I know this is debatable. We have different definitions of what pressure is. And for a man, just for us to start talking about marriage and this is what we want and this is what we're going to do and we want to get married and all this stuff, for them, they interpret that as pressure. Again, this is completely debatable because, in my opinion, if I'm dating someone and the goal or one of my goals is to get married, that's something I'm going to share with my partner. That requires us having a conversation to make sure that we are on the same page, to make sure that our visions align, our values align. I'm not going to be with someone for 5, 6, 7 years and when I don't get a ring, I'm upset because he should have married me by now. Well, you didn't have a conversation about it. So, how do you guys know that you're on the same page? So, some guys equate talking about marriage or making plans towards marriage as pressure. And I'm probably going to do a whole nother podcast episode about pressure and what it is and what it means and so forth, because in my opinion, pressure is debatable. Okay. So that's the first sign that you have a shut up ring. He's just tired of you nagging him. How do you go from one day you guys are like going back and forth and arguing to the next day it's like, okay, just here, have this ring, be my wife, and everything is fine? Like all the problems go away? No, sweetie, that's not how this works. The problems don't go away because you get a ring. If anything, the ring probably highlights the problems even more. All right, that's point number one. Point number two, all his boys are doing it. Believe it or not, there's some men, they grow with their friends. And nothing is necessarily wrong with that. After a while, if all the boys are getting married, you gonna feel left out. He probably gonna want to get married too. So the mindset is like, well, if my friends are doing it and it seems great and it seems okay, it seems like everything is going smoothly for them, then maybe I should get married too. The problem with that is it usually leads nowhere. You could go through the process of getting engaged and even going as far as getting married. But if his heart is not truly in it, nothing's going to change. He's going to still be single at heart. He's going to operate with a single mindset, or he may have preconceived notions about what marriage is supposed to be like. If you guys watch Married at First Sight, which I am a huge junkie, I'm contemplating doing videos on that too. Almost every season, there's always a guy who has preconceived notions about who a wife is and what a wife does. Their explanation always goes back to, oh, I need a wife that's who's going to cook and clean and take care of me. And it's never like, oh, I want to be with someone who wants to build a legacy with me. I want to have kids and do all this good stuff. Yes, we have some of those guys. I'm not going to say they don't exist. You always have at least one guy whose mindset is, look, if she can't cook and clean, she's not a wife. Now, if y'all watching this season, I think we're on season 14, you know who I'm talking about. Okay. So that's point number two. Point number three, he just wants your goodies. Look, I commend the women who have decided to wait until marriage to have sex. I respect a woman's decision to either be celibate before marriage or to wait until marriage to have sex. However, there are some men who will not take no for an answer. They will use sex as a weapon to say, well, you want this ring? I'm not going to put a ring on a finger if I have not had the opportunity to sample what I'm going to be signing up for. You want this ring? You got to put out. Do not do it. I don't care how fine he is. If this man loves you and cares for you and respects you the way he says he does, he is not going to ask you to put your values on the back burner to please him. The way I see it, if the values do not align, then you guys do not belong together. And something as simple as sex, yes. And okay, sex is not that simple because there's all these emotional ties and all that stuff. But the point I'm making is if they can't respect your wishes as it pertains to something like this, why would you think they'll respect your wishes with anything else? Think about it. Unfortunately, there are some men out there who prey on women who are virgins or who are celibate, and they feel like the challenge, the chase to go out there and have this girl break her pact or break her commitment to herself or to God or to whoever, that's the challenge for them. And once they've accomplished that, once they've been able to get you to break your vows or break your values, you're no longer attractive to them. You mean nothing to them. At this point, they're ready to move on to the next best thing. And you are left to pick up the pieces and you end up being broken because you will ultimately feel like you failed yourself. We have to learn to hold on to our values, stick to our values, and not allow someone whose values don't align with ours to take us for a spin, to say the least. All right. Now, point number 4, he refuses to set a date. Or even if he doesn't refuse to set a date, the date keeps getting pushed back. There's always an issue or a reasoning. We're not financially ready yet. Then why did you propose? That's just my 2 cents. Oh, I want to get our money right. I want to save this amount first. I want to be able to give you the big, lavish wedding. Listen, there's always going to be an excuse. And I've seen women sit in relationships for years after getting a ring and nothing happens. And then the mindset starts to change and his ideology starts to change. And it's like, well, marriage changes things. Do you see how many people get divorced after only being married for a short period of time? But when they're dating, they're together for a long, long time. I was in a relationship like that once where the mindset was, why do we need to get married? We've been dating for so long and everything seems fine. And I know the minute we get married, things are going to change. It's not going to work out. And their mindset was like that because before they got married, they were dating the same person for a very long time. And the minute they got married, he started cheating on her. And I'm like, well, that sounds like a you problem. That sounds like you have no self control. It sounds like you don't take accountability for your actions. It sounds like you're not owning up to your responsibilities of being a husband like you said you would be because you're the one who proposed. In other cases, some men cannot give you a clear understanding about why they're so reluctant to take that trip down the aisle. Yes, some guys will come up with excuses, like I said before, but there are others who will just not be straightforward. They'll not be clear because the ultimate answer is they don't want to do it. They just gave you that ring to keep you quiet. And now they're realizing, oh, wait a minute, I might have made a mistake because I gave her the ring and now she wants more. Well, yes, sir, that's how this works. You get a ring, the expectation is that you're going to get married. There are other men who would literally just tell you, look, this is what it is. I don't need the government in my business. I don't need the government telling me what I can and cannot do. The ring is a symbol of our love. That should be marriage enough. I'm not going to go through with it. It's either this or nothing. And you're put in a position where you have to decide whether or not you want to stay or you want to leave. Usually, when things are like this, you're in a relationship with this person now for a while. Emotions are intertwined. You probably have finances intertwined, all this other stuff. And the thought of having to go your separate ways is just, the thought just seems extremely daunting. Do not settle. I'm not one to tell you not to compromise. Compromise is necessary in every relationship. But if you're going to compromise away all your values, all your needs, then no, that's not a compromise. Compromise requires give and take. And in this situation, it would be you just giving, 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 and him just taking, 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 and you're left unhappy. Another thing, some of these men might feel like you're rushing it. How I grew up in the church, what I would see, it wasn't a rule or anything, but it was something I saw all the time. After people got engaged, they usually got married like within 6 to 8 months after the engagement. It was the thing to do. And the mindset was if you waited any longer, it's like, what are you waiting for? Something must not be right. What's going on? So to see people get engaged and be engaged for years without going down the aisle, it's almost second nature to me to wonder, is everything okay? Yeah, I'm still working on getting some of that church stuff out of my head. Nowadays, a lot of people feel like, or I should say, a lot of men feel like marriage is it's being rushed. If I give you a ring, we should be together for another 2, 3, 4 years before we set a wedding date. No, unacceptable. The minute you take a ring and put it on a woman's finger and ask her to be your wife, you have now begun the process of marriage. That's the beginning. You can't put a wedge in between that. It just doesn't work that way. I mean, if you guys both agree to it and that's what you're fine with, okay. And ladies, don't pretend like you're okay with it to please him. If you're not okay with it, speak up. What is the point of being in a relationship if you cannot be transparent with your partner about the things that matter to you? They'll tell you they want to take it slow. They'll tell you, why rock the boat? Everything is going good right now. Let's just enjoy the moment that we're in. Bull crap. Do not take that. If that does not sit right with you, speak up. Speak up. So, just to recap the 4 points again. First point, he's tired of you nagging him. Stop putting all this pressure on him. I really should do a video about this pressure thing. Pressure. Stop putting all that pressure on him and just go with the flow, as they would say. The second point, all his boys are doing it and he don't want to feel left out. Third point, he just wants your goodies. Fourth point, he refuses to set or stick to a date. All of these points boil down to one thing: communication. Communication. There's no relationship, whether you're dating, you're engaged, you're married, there's no type of relationship that can be sustained without effective and healthy communication. A lot of us have not had the opportunity to see that growing up, unfortunately. And it doesn't help that social media and television don't always show relationships in a positive light. There's always some kind of drama, always some kind of mess, which is to some extent true. No relationship is perfect. There's always something going on. But there are little to no tools out there that are available for us to use to build stronger relationships, especially where communication is concerned. So, what I'm doing right now, I'm offering my free ebook. It talks about 9 steps to have healthier communications in your relationships. It's called Talk That Talk. Though the ebook is originally geared towards married men and women, the book also has effective tools for people who are dating, who are engaged, who probably just got married. It's good for everybody. So I'm going to drop the link below. I'm going to put it in the show notes. and you should go and get yourself a copy of Talk That Talk. It is essential and imperative that we learn how to communicate with our partner in order for our relationships to flourish. So again, I told you guys that this was not going to be a long episode. So that's it for me this week. Hopefully by the time you guys see this video, the Little Bundle of Joy is here. I'll be doing videos on that too, separately from the podcast. You have to strictly be on YouTube to see all that stuff. And until we meet again, take care. Well, that's all, y'all. Thanks for tuning in this week. If you haven't already, please subscribe and leave a review for the show. It helps a whole lot. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at MelissaTWalker_ and use the hashtag OYS podcast for more great content.